What is up, Texas hockey fans, and welcome back to Clean Sheet of Ice, the Texas Hockey Podcast. Look, last episode was a lot more fun than this episode's going to be. We had Colin Blackwell on the podcast. If you haven't already, go back and tune into that episode from Friday. Had a blast with Colin Blackwell. We had a blast talking about the Colorado game. Today, we're not going to have as much of a blast. We're going to have as much of a blast as we can after this weekend. A little back-to-back action with the Dallas Stars in Minnesota and then back home against Vegas tonight as we're recording this Sunday, March 22nd, right after the game. It is what it is. Can't do anything about it. It is what it is. A little disappointed, but you know what's not disappointing? Hitting that subscribe button. Hit that subscribe button so we can do another giveaway at 500 subscribers. We're trying to hit that before the playoff starts. Literally, 3.5 weeks from now, 4 weeks from now, the playoffs are starting. Hit that subscribe button so we hit the 500 goal that we're trying to hit on our YouTube at Clean Sheet of Ice, and hit it wherever you get audio podcasts like Apple and Spotify. We got 3 episodes a week. We got shorts. We got Savannah's game previews all on our YouTube. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. But this is Clean Sheet of Ice, Texas Hockey Podcast. I'm your host, Don Strankman, joined always by Dom Garcia. How we doing, bud?
You know, we could be better. I'd love to have a few more points in this back-to-back. But, I mean, with goaltending like that, you can't be too disappointed. I know we're not coming on the winning side of these things, but, man, both Casey and Jake have been playing damn well back-to-back games.
Yeah, and I think that's our second to last back-to-back of the season, if I'm not wrong. Or maybe that was our last back-to-back. Was that our last back-to-back? I don't know. Could be wrong. Yeah, I think it was our last back-to-back of the season. So, you're done with that. So you can kind of survive. No, we got one more at the end of this week on the road. But you're done with the back-to-backs after this week. That was the toughest back-to-back you could have ever possibly had. When we talked to Colin on Thursday afternoon. They had just gotten to Minnesota late Thursday afternoon, probably 3-4 p.m. Got to the hotel, and then they had a practice on Friday, and then they played Minnesota at a 3 p.m. game on a Saturday. Those are already weird. Those are weird games on the weekends when you get a little 3 p.m., 2 p.m. action. And then you got to fly home immediately and then play Vegas on an earlier night game than you're used to at 6 p.m. in Dallas. So weird scheduling, and having Colorado, Minnesota, and Vegas back-to-back-to-back games was certainly a choice by the schedule makers.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was a gauntlet, and you were just lucky that you were on such a roll heading into it. And the momentum you were thinking could carry you through, and playing those teams at that kind of pace of games every single night, especially going in overtime, a few of them, that's not a recipe for success against these high-level teams.
Yeah, and the emotions of that Colorado game, because that felt like the Western Conference Finals, and that'll never happen because of Gary Bettman's NHL playoff setup right now. But the amount of hitting, the amount of motion that was in that one, going to an overtime that was action-packed, and then going to the shootout right after, and it was a late game too. It was the 8:30 start, national television. So I think that might have zapped the boys of some energy that they had been holding on to. And you can kind of tell over the last week that it was starting to dwindle down, the energy bar starting to go down without Mikko Rantanen, without Roope Hintz, without Radek Faksa in the lineup. You can kind of tell that those forward group is starting to press a little bit more than they had in the previous weeks. So I'm not too concerned about this weekend. At the end of the day, I'm not too concerned.
Yeah, I mean, you're playing some of the best teams in the league, and especially with tonight, you're playing a hungry team that is fighting for playoff positioning, really just to get into the playoffs for that matter. So I know we're fighting for that magic number. So we're in way more comfortable spots than most teams, but you got to keep it up for 3 periods. And if you can't, these other teams in this league will make you pay.
Yeah, I was really looking forward to this episode when we were up 2-1, and I was like, man, I can't wait to create the graphic, playoffs clinched, make the thumbnail, put it on the background, have the title on YouTube, playoffs clinched. It might still be that. So if you're listening to this and playoffs clinched episode is live, you're welcome. I called it. The Kings and Utah are in the first period, I believe. They're tied 2-2 the last time I checked. If Utah wins, I believe the Stars still clinch a playoff spot tonight. So we'll have to wait and see. I'll check that in the morning before I publish this puppy, but playoffs maybe have clinched at this point. As you're listening to this, maybe you know, maybe you don't. Who's to say? But we'll talk about the Vegas game now. The first period, I think I could kind of tell it was going to be another one of those sloggy games against Colorado. It was a 1 game, obviously going to a game. you expect that out of Vegas. So I was already expecting something like 1-1, 2-2 heading into the third period or at the end of the game. And that first period kind of just confirmed it for me. 7 to 6 shots. Vegas had more shots on goal, but Braden McNabbs gets that first goal. And I think this is the where we've kind of noticed it a little loose in the middle over the last 3 games, or over the last 2 games, just Minnesota and Vegas. I felt like they're not pinching as much, not coming all the way together. Braden McNabb just kind of waltzed in between Esa Lindell and Miro Heiskanen on this play and kind of had a wide open shot at Casey DeSmith, and he made him pay. So they were up 1-0 pretty early there. But that's the one thing that I've noticed over the last 2 games is the defense isn't pinching as much as it had been over that big streak of wins and points.
Yeah, and I've also noticed in the offensive zone, they will trail quickly than normal. They will get back and back far quicker than I'm just used to seeing a Dallas blue line. And greasy, gutsy goal by Jake or McCabe, and he kind of earned it.
Yeah, it was a good goal. I mean, he just kind of put the burners on, and both the defensemen didn't really skate with him. They didn't pinch enough, and just like we've seen Mikko do 100 times this season, where he just kind of dances through 3 guys, juggling the puck a little bit. This was a little bit easier, I think. But you get a little bit later in the period, 10:55 into the period, you go on the power play, and we've just been waiting for over a week for this moment. This very moment, Wyatt Johnston scores his 23rd power play goal of the season, sets the franchise record, overall franchise. Minnesota North Stars and the Dallas Stars. Dino Ciccarelli was the record holder at 22. Wyatt Johnston now has 23 power play goals on the season. It is the 5th most in the last 11 seasons in the NHL, behind like 2 Leon Draisaitl seasons. I think Nikita Kucherov's in there as well. Like, Wyatt Johnston's in some crazy company over the last decade plus in NHL power play goals in a season, but now he stands alone on top as the power play king for a single season for the Dallas Stars and the Minnesota North Stars. We do recognize their franchise. So good for Wyatt. He gave a little smile when they put him on the scoreboard during right before a faceoff. He tried to hold it in. He couldn't do it. He let a smile in.
Yeah, and as Savannah has pointed out on this podcast, every year he climbs and has a better year than the last previous year. And to get that many goals on the power play, it's hard to get that many goals in an NHL season. But to get it on just a power play alone, man, he's tip of the cap to him. And what a banger of a goal, too. I love this power play goal. Jamie Benn was out there, and I loved his positioning. It kind of like was a pick without being a pick for like an angle, and screened so well. It worked to perfection. We've seen Wyatt do this from the slot many of times. The crowd loved it, and it was a great moment for Wyatt Johnston.
Yeah, and we've seen these kinds of goals. I thought this one was even more tic-tac-toe as opposed to just tic-tac-toe. You swung it from the top, from the point down to Dutchy and over to Wyatt, but it was like 5 passes before it got to Wyatt, and they were all pretty fast. So I thought that was pretty fun. Dutchy's 21st assist of the season, Miro Heiskanen's 50th assist of the season. It's up in the 50 range again. And Wyatt Johnston has 38 goals now on the season. I think he's leading the team. Am I wrong in that? We're going to pull up the stats. I think he leads the team in goals now. And he's tied for lead. Wyatt and Robo both have 38. So that's good. You take that all day long. But that was a good power play. I thought they started off pretty well. They had a couple of those chances early, and then they made them pay a little bit later in the power play. But good one. You get it tied back, and you're wearing the 99s. Like, it just looks good, setting the record of the 99s. So I just have to point that out. The 99s are perfect, and they should just be the home jerseys that we wear in the playoffs. And I don't know why they wouldn't do that.
I don't know if it's like just the color, but they just look fast when they're playing in that jersey.
Like, everything looks like they hit harder, they shoot faster, they skate faster. Like, the passes are crispier. Like, everything about it just makes it better. I don't know why we wouldn't wear them game 1 of the playoffs if we're hosting, which it looks like we might be. Justin Ritzkovian, welcome back to the chat. Your 11th goal of the season. This was a fun one because this is kind of clunky getting it into the zone, and this was just a dog moment. It goes back to the Vegas defender. He's not really paying attention, tries to slide it over to the other defender. Ritzy slides in, grabs the puck, sends it back to Colin Blackwell right behind him. Colin Blackwell then shoots it right into Ritzy, which was pretty funny. And he just collects it right off the ice, scoops it in the left side of the net. Good dog, Ritzy. He's just a dog. That's what he does. He just creates something out of nothing. Colin Blackwell, Sam Steele get the assist there. Justin Ritzkovian's 11th goal of the season. Did you happen to see the social clip from the Dallas Stars the other day that they put out asking everyone in the locker room if they could spell Ritzkovian?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Do you think you could spell Ritzkovian right now?
Absolutely not.
Try.
All I know is there's an H before the R.
Yeah.
Y.
You got the first 2 letters right. 3 letters right.
I.
Oh no.
See, I get into the nickname. I spell it like the nickname.
Yeah. It's HRYCKOWIAN. Even I had to think. Yeah, it took me till maybe middle of January to like nail that, of typing it out. Like I would Google it every time I would type out his name earlier in the season, just to make sure I had it right.
I'm gonna at some point I have to learn this because now we have 2 of them.
We do have 2 of them. His brother Dylan was just signed to a 2-year entry-level contract with the Dallas Stars. He reports to the Texas Stars. I think he's already there. He's wearing number 14 with the Texas Stars too. We like that number over here.
Interesting.
Yeah, so that's fun. But good goal out of Justin. You're up 2-1. You're feeling pretty good there in the first period too. You're like, okay, wow, we scored 2 against Vegas in like 60 minutes last time. It took us forever to get, or like they get it in the second period, but they scored 2 last time. And I was just like, okay, maybe this is the 3-4 Vegas game that we get every once in a while, or the 5-4 game that we get against Vegas every once in a while, because it does happen that way. Second period was an absolute clusterfuck though. Just so many penalties. You had a delayed game. You had a slash. And then you had Jack Eichel 4 minutes double minor on Maverick Bourque, which I never even saw any blood. And so like it had to have been the most minuscule drop of blood that fell on the ice that Maverick spit out, because maybe he like kind of scratched his gum a little bit with his glove. I don't know. People do that. And then 2 minutes for 2 minutes on the ice. And then another 2 minutes for high sticking on Mitch Marner to end the period. So all of 8 penalty minutes from the Dallas Stars happened in the second period. So thankfully they cleaned that up in the third period. But Ivan Barbashev did make him pay on the power play. It was a great setup, honestly. It's like Bish was kind of in the right situation. He was in the right space, but just wasn't able to stop that cross-crease pass. And pretty easy goal there for Barbashev. Like nothing Casey could have done. The only thing Bishwell could have done is just maybe tip the puck, and he tried and he missed and he fell on his ass, and there was a goal in the back. And there was a puck in the back of the net. So it is what it is, but tied 2-2 there in the second period. But you held them off on all the other power plays.
Yeah, and the setup was the goal here in that situation. But, you know, going from the first period to the second, I was loving how the forward group was defending this Vegas team, and they were very frustrated going into the second period. And then you kind of seen at one point there was just, I think with all these penalties, our forwards started to lay off the aggressiveness, the Sam Steeles, the Colin Blackwells, and maybe that played a factor into the kind of pushback D. But that's when Vegas started to put a little bit more pressure on the shots. And I think we had maybe I don't have the stats, but maybe 3 shots on net in that second period. I don't know. It felt like we were playing defense the whole game.
Yeah. 3 shots on net in the second period. And you had 4 penalties in there in the second period, 8 minutes. But you did have a 4-minute power play in there. And that's what I really want to focus on here. That's the second straight game. Obviously, we're going to talk a little bit about Minnesota after we get done with this Vegas matchup. But Jack Eichel goes to the box. He plays a little bit of penalty kill. Like, that's a solid guy that just got off the ice for 4 straight minutes, and that's 2 power plays. So, like, if you score in the first 2 minutes, you still get another 2 minutes right after that. That's my main issue, I think, with the last 2 games. Is like, look, the offense hasn't been that good, and maybe they're running out of gas a little bit, waiting on Mikko to come back, waiting on Roope to come back, and we're going to talk about Mikko here after we talk about this game. But you're just waiting on the big guys to come back. And Wyatt Johnston's been doing a lot. Matt Duchene's been playing really well. I think Jason Robertson's been playing really well. Jamie Benn and Sam Steele and all these guys have been playing really well, and they're carrying their water and everything. But when you're playing these really good teams, they can kind of pick and choose who they want to shut down on each and every line, and that makes it a little bit harder. Some of these teams aren't going to be able to do that on this upcoming road trip. it's going to be maybe a little bit lighter for the guys. So maybe that's going to be interesting. But yeah, I think you're just missing Mikko, especially on that power play, because it takes them a little bit longer to get set up, I think, over the last few games. And they've had some good chances still. Like that Wyatt one against Minnesota, the same thing happened. The tic-tac-toe, he's in the slot, and he just kind of puts it right in the shoulder elbow area, and it doesn't sneak through. Against Minnesota, the same thing has been kind of happening recently on the power play. So I think they're just getting maybe a little in their head, or they're just keying in on Wyatt Johnston more, and that's not opening up more room for Robo because Rantanen's not out there. It's Jamie Benn and Matt Duchene, and maybe they're not as respected as Mikko Rantanen would be on the power play. I think we're just kind of running into that. But yeah, not scoring on a 4-minute power play in back-to-back games is borderline unacceptable. I think, like, because if you score on that, like, this game's over. Like, you don't, like, I don't think there's a chance that they come back. But I could be wrong. If you score on that 4-minute power play in Minnesota, that game is definitely over because that game was 7 minutes left in the game. So, yeah, you just got to learn how to score on 4-minute power plays. And we're used to killing all those off, especially in really big moments like they did against Colorado. Was that game 2 where they killed off a 4-minute power play from Mason Marchment, and then Colin Blackwell went off to score the game winner there. But shout out to Colin Blackwell, though, going on the pod. That was fun. But got to score on the 4-minute power play. That's it. That's the moral of the story this weekend. Got to score on the 4-minute power play.
Yeah, and on this specific one, the circling of the puck, sometimes if you circle it too fast, it's tough to get those defenders out of position. And that's when we saw early this year when Harley can kind of slow the game down. He can kind of pump fake and do a feint circle and then get to the position. It's more successful. But yeah, it felt really rushed to get into a high danger shot. And when you do that, it sometimes doesn't get those high danger shots. And that's what I saw when I saw this 4-minute really not amount to a great opportunity.
That's interesting. I didn't even think about them going too fast, because you look at that first power play goal, it was hypersonic speed. Each pass, they had 5 passes into Wyatt Johnston, and it was super fast every time. Like, it was tic-tac-toe, tic-tac-toe. So maybe they were trying to replicate that. Yeah, I don't know. And I don't know the answer. Like, they've had trouble against Minnesota and Vegas, who are both really good defensive teams, by the way, getting into the zone on the power play. Like, they're really good, and they're stingy in the neutral zone, both on the power play and both 5-on-5. Like, they're both really good at that. So, yeah, the game comes down to that. Obviously, then you get to the third period. You have 6 shots on goal to their 15. That's a huge issue. You're not shooting the puck a lot, which is okay. Like, we saw against Colorado, like, our chances were grade A++, right? And Colorado's chances were maybe B+ or maybe A-. Like, they weren't getting crazy chances because they were shooting from the outside. They had a lot of shots on goal, but they were shooting from the outside, not A+ chances. Today, I felt like there weren't any A+ chances really for the most part. Obviously, the Ritzy and the Wyatt goals are A++ chances. They go in the net and they're right close and tight. But outside of that, I didn't feel like we had a ton. They had 15 shots on net. And at some point, you got to start peppering the guy because he's just not seeing anything. And yeah, it's just kind of what it is. He had 8 minutes in the box. He had 15 shots. He lost the face-off battle. The hits were fine, but 1 for 3 on a power play where one of them was a 4-minuter. And that's kind of just the story of the game. So, yeah, you can see all the things and you can see the issues. I haven't listened to any of the post-game stuff yet, but I don't know. I'm not frustrated because I understand why they lost those 2 games. That's basically it.
Yeah, and, going on PK after going on PK on a back-to-back, just that third period, you would have loved to see more shots because with a goalie like Hill in net, he's rebound prone, which was a perfect scenario to have just, even if they're not good looks, just throw it at the net, which Bishop was doing a pretty decent job of. Even Essa, and I think Labuchkin had a couple of deep snipes. Yeah. But yeah, no, you could see it. You could see the legs getting worn down deep into the moment where the game's tied, and Vegas capitalizes.
Yeah, and if the Stars win tonight, they obviously clinch a playoff spot. They're going to the playoffs. I'm not worried about it. It's just for the satisfaction of putting the X next to the Dallas Stars on the standings and putting it on the graphic and all that kind of stuff. They still might, and they still might have an X when I wake up in the morning because I'm not staying up to watch this game after I get this thing done and uploaded. I'm going to bed. But it is what it is. I'm not too mad. Before we talk about Minnesota, I want you to hit the subscribe button again, on Clean Sheet Advice on YouTube. we had like 55% on one of our episodes last week that were already subscribed. So there's 45% of you that weren't. Just on one episode. I didn't check the Colin Blackwell one yet, but we had more views. We had a little bit more watch hours. We got 12 subscribers just from that episode alone. I would love to get another 12 on this one. Even though they lost, you can still hit the subscribe button. It's still free and doesn't cost you anything. So hit the subscribe button on our YouTube at Clean Sheet Advice. If you're an audio listener, just head over to our YouTube, hit that subscribe button. Shout out to Reagan. My guy Reagan, he's known about this podcast since basically the beginning. And he's never subscribed to our channel until today. He did put the hand up though. He said hand up. I didn't realize I wasn't subscribed. So he hit the subscribe button today. If he can do it, anyone can do it.
Yeah, and the speed that we're going, like, it's been fun. We're gonna get to that 500 very soon.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to work on that giveaway real fast. I'm gonna have to talk to Colin on Tuesday. But hit that subscribe button. We'll talk about Minnesota in just a sec because we're gonna talk about injury updates. Sam Nessler put this out on Twitter. This is from Jim Nill, who was on the ticket with our friend Michael Dixon. So I'm just reading Sam's tweet about Jim Nill saying things on the ticket to Michael Dixon and Bruce Levine. Inception. There's a lot of credits there, but we got it. Rantanen will keep skating with the team and travel on this 4-game road trip. Hope he can play by the end of the trip. So if we're looking at the 4-game road trip, you got the Islanders, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, and then Boston. So end of the month, 31st, maybe you can get Rance back. That would just be a huge lift to have him back. Hintz and Faksa still not skating. No timetable for Faksa. I saw Faksa, and it looks like he's progressing in the right direction. I'm not going to say what the injury was, but Dom knows. He said, okay, yeah, that's kind of he's going to be okay. So that's good. They expect Hintz back for the playoffs, hope for the same for Faksa, and that's kind of the issue. Hintz hasn't skated yet. Plan is hopefully start of the playoffs or maybe the week before. So we're looking at maybe like a Robo Miro situation that we had last year. And then Faksa, it was a unique injury. There's no history. As far as the healing time, we're hoping for the first round sometime. So it looks like we're not going to have Roope until somewhere in the first round. And same with Faksa right now. They just don't know about Fox. So like injury update wise, like you went 1 for 3 on that. It's not really what you want to hear about Roope, not what you want to hear about Radek, but getting Rantanen back literally this month would be a fucking blessing. I can't wait to watch 96 back on the ice.
And I can't wait to have him be on the ice in a scenario where you're kind of locked into your playoff positioning. Everything's comfortable. It feels like almost like a preseason game. And then we roll into the playoffs. And once we get into sync, we saw it last year. Like I've seen fans be kind of worried, like they don't remember how injury prone we were last year and missing guys for entire playoff series and still winning playoff series. The fact that we'll have Mikko hopefully by the end of this month, like I am very confident in everyone coming back into true form when they do get back on the ice.
Yeah, because I think Sagan came back last year, game 82. Yep. So like he's maybe 90%. Like he's healthy enough to play hockey. And you're never healthy when you go into the playoffs, and you're never healthy throughout a playoff series. So it just is what hockey is. It is what the NHL is. Stanley Cup is the hardest trophy to win in sports. It's not arguable at this point. Like based on what I've seen in the locker room, based on what I've heard about other people, it's the hardest trophy to win in sports, and it's not even fucking close. But he got Sagan back game 82. You lose Robo game 82. So like you never had him for the first round. You never really had him for. I don't think you had him in the whole second round, right? Did he come back against Winnipeg? I can't remember, but he definitely came back against Edmonton. So like he was the only person scoring against Edmonton. That was the crazy thing. And then you didn't have Miro back until middle of the Winnipeg series.
Yep.
Like it was like game 5 of the Winnipeg series, game 4. It's game 4, I think, because he came back at a home crowd. So great home crowd pop. And for some reason, TikTok took that audio down on that video, on my video that I took in the stadium. Like they're like, you don't own the rights to this music. I was like, I was just videoing what was going on. So getting Rantanen back this week would just be, or next week is going to be massive for this team. Even if he comes back the first week of April, which are a bunch of home games, right? It's Winnipeg on the 2nd and Colorado on the 4th. Like you're going to have Rantanen back for one of those games, if not both, if not a little bit before. Getting him back, getting 96 back on the ice is just going to be it's like getting your guy back. You know, like when a football team misses their quarterback and he comes back and then they go on a run after that and they play better, they play more confident, whatever it is. I think getting Mikko back kind of does a little bit of the same thing for this squad.
Yeah, and I think the big thing for me, like as a fan watching every single second of this season, like for Roope and Radek, just the fact that there's no setbacks on their timetable is a huge W for me. That's almost as big as knowing that Mikko will be back at the end of the month, because like a setback would have worried me. And now that I know like they're on par with everything, and you know Jim Nill has been awesome. I heard a little bit of him at the GM meetings, and everything just sounds in control with the injury point. And that's something we didn't have last year. Like we were very worried last year, and we still made it through a historic Winnipeg season, a terrifying Colorado team. You get the Stars healthy in the playoffs, it's trouble for the West.
Yeah, it should be fun. I saw Mikko in the locker room the other day, or a few weeks ago now, either after the Vegas or the Edmonton game that week at home where they were on the home game stretch, but can't remember which game it was. But I saw him in the locker room, made a point to look at his legs. He was in his suit pants and whatever. Like, didn't see brace like outlines on his pants, and I didn't see a boot on his foot. So like, he had already started skating at that point. We know that, but I was just curious to see if there was a brace. Miro obviously wore a brace last year after when he came back. Matt Dumba wears braces on his knees. I think a handful of other guys wear braces on their knees. Like the MCL, ACL injuries and stuff in the past, they always just kind of wear it afterwards. Did not see that on Mikko. I could be wrong. Maybe it's a smaller brace and I just couldn't see it, but I didn't see anything. So I thought that was pretty good. And getting him back this week, next week is going to be really fun. I'm going to miss him dearly because I'm going to be in the Deep South for a couple weeks to begin April. So my last home game before the playoffs is literally this Jersey game again on Tuesday. It's going to be crazy. And I'm going to come back and it's going to be freaking chaos in April.
Yeah, it's full steam ahead right now.
Yeah, it is. It'll be fun. Minnesota game, don't really have much to talk about. It's a 1-1 game. Obviously, you go to overtime. I think the only thing in overtime is that you had a handful of chances, didn't get it done, and then defensive miscue, 3-on-3. Vladimir Tarasenko was left wide open by, I think it was Robo's guy, but it's like they pinched. They all pinched towards the puck. They went puck watching, and they left one guy wide open, and they got the puck over to Tarasenko, and Tarasenko's not going to miss that. He's still an elite shooter, no matter how declining he is in the game of play and everything, like with the pace and speed and all that kind of stuff. He's still a shooter. He can still score. So didn't really take much out of that game. I got a little angry at that one because I wanted Jake to win that game. Thought Jake deserved to win it, just like I did tonight with Casey. Thought both the goalies played really well. I mean, Minnesota literally scored on the only two mistakes that the Stars made in that game. So it is what it is. It's hard to complain when you know where the issues are.
I love that it could be Jake's rookie year. It could be the final year of his career. When he plays Minnesota, something is just different about him. And luckily for him, that's looking like who we're going to face. Congratulations for the second best record in the NHL. Here's the Minnesota Wild, one of the most talented teams in the league. Thank you, Gary Bettman. I love it. I love it. No, dude, Jake, man. And you can tell it's not personal at all. It's just the hometown team that you root for, that sweater you see so many times as a kid, he just locks in, dude. And man, I wanted him to win that one. It was a seesaw of a neutral zone play. Like, for what it's worth, I did think Dallas played great in the offensive zone, staying on pucks and winning puck battles. But Minnesota held strong defensively. They did not panic, and they wore this team out. And one mistake can lead to a point swing, and that's what happened.
Yeah, and it's tough. You went 1 for 5 on the power play, 20%, which like isn't the worst, but 20% for a team that's kind of knocking on 30% all the time, 33% all the time. Like they should score a little bit more. But at the end of the day, I just pulled this up. So these are two very different teams at this point now. I think most of the roster is kind of overturned for the Wild. A lot of the roster is overturned for the Stars at this point. But 2023, obviously the Stars and the Wild played in the playoffs. Game 1, Dallas loses in double overtime. And I remember this because I had to drive to Alabama the next day. It went to like 1:40 in the morning. I woke up at like 4 to get on the road for 10 hours. That was brutal. I remember that one. I also think that was the game that Joe Pavelski got hurt. You remember Matt Dumba just destroyed Joe Pavelski and put him through the ice and gave him a concussion? I think that was that game. Next game, you win 7-3, so came back strong. Then lose the next game 5-1. Win the next one 3-2. Win game 5 4-0, and win game 6 4-1. Like, I think we played Minnesota twice in the playoffs in our history, and I think we won both series. So, yeah, I think we're pretty much locked in. If you look at the standings, we're 5 points down on Colorado. Same games played, or they still have a game in hand now. We have a game in hand on the Wild, and we're 5 points up on them. It's barring anything fucking absolutely crazy to the end of the season. It's going to be Stars Wild with the Stars hosting game 1 of the playoffs. And look, you put up another hell of a season, and a team went fucking crazy for the first 3 months of the season. So all it really comes down to is, like, if you don't start off 17-0-1 or whatever to start the season, and they're like 14-4, then yeah, we're having a different kind of conversation right now. Then we're in the heat of it. But 5 points back, anything can happen. Colorado can go on a losing streak. Dallas can go on a winning streak. I'm just expecting to be this 2 seed and have to play the Wild and then the Avalanche in back-to-back series and just get our teeth kicked in by the Western Conference final matchup because they played the Ducks. You know, like, that's what I'm looking at right now. It just keeps happening.
I mean, and you know, you're right. Anything can happen, but boy, like, watching that Colorado game, there's a lot of issues on that team, specifically on game planning. And my goodness, does their power play look horrendous right now? Mm-hmm. But it feels very similar to last year. Last year, what did we lose? Like 6 in a row at the end of the year. And we kind of at that point knew who we were going to get first round.
Yeah, 7 in a row and then lose game 1 of the playoffs.
Yeah, like it's as far as a standing standpoint, we're kind of in that familiar territory that we were last year, just different scenarios. And God, hopefully we don't go on that skid, because I wasn't nervous, but I was starting to get there last year.
The first 3 games, I was like, fine. You know, the Vancouver game happened, though, and that is when I hadn't been that angry since the 2023 Jamie Benn cross-checking Mark Stone in the face in the playoffs in the Western Conference Finals. That's the most angry I'd been, I think, at a hockey game. And then that Vancouver game when you're up, was it 5-2, I think, with a minute left or 2 minutes left or whatever it was, and we lost in overtime. That is the maddest I've been at a hockey game in several years. And then I get down to the press room and Pete DeBoer's just like laughing. He's like, well, we made history, right, guys? I was like, are you fucking serious? You're angry all the time, and you're not angry right now. Like, I was so irate that night. But yeah, barring anything crazy like that happening, it looks like it's going to be Stars hosting the Wild at home. And look, I kind of love it. I like getting the top seed would be nice, and winning the President's Trophy would be nice. Getting to play fucking Nashville in game 1 instead of the Minnesota Wild would be fun, but like, it's kind of fun with the Wild. I kind of like the Wild in round 1. I think it's kind of fun. I think we could just beat the hell out of them. I really do. I really think we beat the hell out of them.
Matchup wise with Mikko, like, I kind of the same thing with Colorado. I just don't know if they can handle our size. We'll have to wait and see. They're a very fast team. But like, yeah, I do like player for player. I like the way our forwards get so scrappy. I think that would be a huge problem in a playoff series.
Yeah, I think like Minnesota out-hit us in the game that we played the other day. I think it was 30-28 shots on goal in favor of Dallas. Dallas obviously didn't score on the power play, 1 for 5. But yeah, we got out-hit 25-36 against Minnesota. Minnesota's big and heavy, and they like to hit and everything. But I think the first 2 times that we played Minnesota, really, we hadn't the locker room maybe hadn't completely bought into that 1% mentality of 1% tougher and 1% more physical each and every game. Over the last 2 months, they've definitely hyped that part up. I think everyone's fully bought in now. You're seeing Maverick Bourque throw kind of some of the nastiest hits that you see all week from the Dallas Stars. He's throwing a lot of them. Obviously, Colin Blackwell had a great one today against Vegas. They're on the blue line. So I think that 1% more physical, more tough mentality that they have that was said by goalie in his introductory press conference has finally seeped into it. And it took 60-something games, whatever, 70 games now to get there. But I think everyone's completely bought in. You see Robo kill Quinn Hughes on the boards. That was pretty fun. Like, I know it ended up in a boarding penalty, but that was a big hit, and that was pretty fun to see Robo do that. It's only going to get amped up more in the playoffs, and I think they're prepared for it this time. That's where the last 3 seasons they weren't prepared for that physicality yet.
Yeah, I mean, the last year that kind of was looking around left to right, like who is going to be here? Right now is a great audition for some of these fourth line guys. Once we do get healthy, who will be healthy scratched and who will not? Luckily, these guys have been playing good, but if someone does get an edge offensively wise and start making more plays, you make a case for yourself because Nils has gotten his time defensively. Labuchkin's been out there. Like, not everybody's going to be on the ice once we do get healthy. And right now is a perfect time to make a statement and show why you need to be on this team in big playoff moments.
I think our defensive pairings are set heading into the playoffs. I think it's Essa Miro, right? Top pairing. Second pairing is going to be Harley Lundqvist. I think Nils has kind of really come on here in the last 2 months or so. He's skating a lot better. Obviously, he had the injury earlier in the season. I thought he was playing really well before the injury. He didn't play a ton of games. But I think that pairing set in stone. And I think your Liam Bichel, Tyler Myers pairing is set in stone. I know he got the game off today. He's a little bit older. He's 36. It's kind of a maintenance day, I think. And then also to get Labuchkin back into the lineup just in case anything happens. So I think your defensive pairings are set. But like you said, that fourth line, it's – I don't think Ritzy can come out of the lineup. I don't know how you take him out. You're not taking Sam Steele out of the lineup. You're not taking Oscar Pack out of the lineup with how he plays on the PK. Does great on the fourth line. So then you're looking at like Ernie, Bastion, Blackwell. Like you got a whole mix of dudes down here.
Bunting.
Bunting's, I think he's going to be in, but R2 Huru's been playing really well. He's fucking phenomenal on faceoffs too. It's like, everyone brings a different aspect to that game, and I love Adam Ernie. Like, I'm a big Adam Ernie guy. Colin Blackwell was he's obviously our guy. He's the first player guest on this podcast. Colin Blackwell's always been my guy. But coming into the season, I was like, I'm interested in this Adam Ernie. In the first few games that I got to see him play, I was like, oh yeah, I love Adam Ernie. Like, big Adam Ernie guy. And I feel like he's kind of earned it. And then you just look at the defense. You have Petro, Labuchkin, and Kapopienko are all going to sit on the bench.
Yeah,
in the playoffs, and those are 3 very serviceable third pairing D-men right there. They're all going to sit there and not play because Tyler Myers showed up. Like, this team's deep as hell, especially when Roope, Radek, and Mikko come back.
Yeah, I mean, it's as deep as we were last year. It was just a different type of deepness. There's guys that you now know what role they can play and be the most productive in. And it's about putting the right puzzle pieces together and making a playoff run.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun, Dom. Well, Tuesday night, we got the New Jersey Devils are in town. Sure. I don't know anything about the Devils anymore. Jack Hughes plays for them. I don't know if we'll get a moment out of that. Are they even a playoff spot? No, they're nowhere near a playoff spot right now.
Yeah,
they're 13 points out. So, their season's pretty much done. We'll just see how that goes. I would expect them to get back on the right foot here. I think you get another game at home. You get a day off. I would assume that tomorrow is going to be optional practice. I could be wrong. After the Vegas game, after the back-to-back, they didn't do morning skate today. I would assume optional practice tomorrow on Monday or today as you're listening to this, and then they'll have regular morning skate the next day against New Jersey. I'm expecting them to just come off the right foot. I think they're going to have a strong first period and kind of play the full 60 minutes, physical, getting pucks to the net. Then they're going to just fix the things that didn't go well over the weekend. I think that's what it is.
Yeah, 24 hours without a game for these boys is huge. And I'm expecting, since Bichel got hurt, I was there in the arena when he did get hurt, and he's come back. I've seen so much just confidence in his stick at game on game on game. I'm loving to see it. I would love to see him and Jamie have a really big night against a team that, is not playing for much. Just go out there and be physical, man. Be dogs.
It is so funny. Liam Bichel has 6 points this year. 3 goals, 3 assists. Perfect hockey player. Yeah, I would like to see Jamie get back in there. I'd like to see Dutchy kind of have a showstop moment. I'd like to see Thomas Harley get a goal. It's been a minute.
That'd be nice.
I know he had the overtime winner the other day, but like I feel like Harles needs a 5-on-5. Just fling it from the point, and it just bounces off bodies and goes in, and just not off a star's body, so he doesn't get just the primary assist. I'd like to see one of those, and then I'd like to see Mikko Rantanen back on the ice. That's what I'd like to see. I want to see Mikko back. Love that guy.
We'll get it very soon.
Can't wait. So Jersey on Thursday or Tuesday, and then they're on the road for 4 games before we're doing another homestand, and then ending the season on the road. We're almost to playoff time, so hit that subscribe button. We're at 5. Once we get to 500 subs, we're gonna do another giveaway. We're less than 150 away. So like we just did a giveaway like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. I just sent out the giveaway last week. So look, I'm willing to do as many giveaways as y'all are willing to subscribe. Okay. And the more subscribers we get, the more giveaways we will do. Once we hit 500, we're going to be able to start making a little bit of money on this podcast. And that is all going to go back to you guys, either through tickets or through signed items or some kind of memorabilia, whatever we can do, whatever we can get with the money that we earn from this channel. We want to give it back to you guys for subscribing, for listening, to watching, all the things. So thank you for subscribing if you have already. If you haven't, hit that sub button so we can get to 500 subs when we do another giveaway. Then we'll do another one at 750 and another one at 1,000. So hopefully we get there this season. We're having a lot of fun. Thank you for viewing. Thank you for watching. Thank you for telling everybody about Clean Sheet of Ice. It's been a fun time. It's been a fun season, and we're almost to the playoffs. So get us to 500 before the playoffs. We'll be back on Wednesday with another episode of Clean Sheet of Ice, a Texas Hockey Podcast. And yeah, go Stars. Hopefully we clinch a playoff spot. I don't know if we did or not. Sorry. This is me from the past. Can't help it. That'll do it for Clean Sheet of Ice, Texas Hockey Podcast.